I'll do some scary movie.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Killer, Mommy. Killer.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to a killer episode of All Things Horror. My name is Ben and I'm joined here with Matt. If you're new to the show, each week we choose a movie to break down and review. We give our honest opinions and rate it from 1 to 10. We have a brief spoiler-free chat about the movie before heading into the plot and discussing our favourite and least favourite parts of the movie. This week we're going to be talking about the winner of our poll pick, which is Killer Klowns from Outer Space from 1988. But before we do, let's take a quick look at the trailer.
It was a night like any other night. Then something happened.
You see that?
Something different.
It's no shooting star.
Why here? Why now? Why clowns? They've been knocking them dead all over the universe.
What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?
Soon they'll be doing it at a theater near you.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Pizza?
Maybe they're just cruising through the galaxy and stopped here for a bite to eat.
You don't need a police pal, you need a psychiatrist. They want to play games? They're messing with the wrong guy.
What are you in for?
Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's crazy.
So, when teenagers Mike and Debbie see a comet crash outside their small town, they investigate and discover a pack of murderous aliens who very much look like circus clowns. The clowns descend on the town, and without the help of the local authorities, Mike decides it's up to him to stop the clowns' bloody rampage. It's quite interesting. Directed by Stephen Chiodo. Is that how you say it? Chiodo?
I'd imagine so, yeah.
I think it is, yeah. Directed by Stephen Chiodo, written by Stephen and Charles Chiodo, and produced by Stephen, Charles, and Edward Chiodo, also known as Chiodo Bros Productions Incorporated.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? They've
Yeah.
like a little family business going.
Yeah.
They've not done much else really.
No, I mean, they're mainly
design.
special effects, aren't they? I don't think they've done an awful lot of directing.
Yeah, I think that is a good way of thinking about the whole film, really. Like, the effects and the costumes and everything are great, but there isn't really much of a story.
Yeah.
So, like, it totally makes sense. Like, yeah, like, I think that's the best thing about the film.
Yeah, definitely.
The way it looks and the things that, the practical effects and the puppets and the costumes and everything are really cool. So it reminded me, I don't know if you've ever seen the film Terrorvision.
Terrorvision. I've heard of it. I don't think I've seen it.
It's good. It's like a one of those ones that a full moon one where they filmed it in the Italian studios that they bought. and it's all creatures coming out of the TV, like because the satellite dish gets hit by like an alien thing. Very similar to this. I would say probably better written than this, like funnier and like, but when you compare the two, it's like quite similar really in a way. Instead of obviously the what is it, the things that shoot down, and in this it's the same sort of idea, sort of like mistaking an alien.
Well, I think another film that the Chiodo brothers did was Critters, and that was quite similar as well, wasn't it?
I don't know. Do you know I've never seen Critters?
Oh, have you not? Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been
I'll
a
watch
long
Critters
time.
and you watch Terrorvision and
yeah. So, main cast is Grant Cramer, Suzanne Snyder, John Allen Nelson, and John Vernon. A runtime of hour and a half, and available on Amazon Prime. Is this our first like official comedy horror? I know we did an American Werewolf in London, but this is more kind of in-your-face comedy horror.
Yeah, this is probably I guess the closest to like a B movie I guess that we've done as well. So like I think there's one called Bad Channels, and there's a lot of these. They tend to be coming out of TVs. This is the one where they're like there's a little bit of different, isn't it? Like obviously with the big top thing, and but yeah, this is. It knows what it is, doesn't it? It's not trying to be like some sort of highly intelligent, as people are fond of saying, elevated horror. It's not that. It's the opposite of that.
So this was your first viewing of this, wasn't it? So I've been dying to know what you thought.
Yeah, and I've never seen it before. It's kind of. I guess I was a little bit disappointed. I think I was expecting a little bit more because people have like bigged it up to me so much. But I think one thing I really did, I love the design. I love the designs of all the different clowns, how distinct each one was to the next one. So I like that side of it. So that was fun.
It's got quite a cult following, this film.
It has. Like on YouTube, a lot of people post little YouTube shorts of memorabilia and posters and people dressed as the different clowns and stuff. It's very visual, isn't it? So obviously people have really taken to it. Like sort of horror clowns that really took off as well, haven't they? Like obviously there was It and films like that, and obviously now there's Art from Terrifier. So he's at the other end of the spectrum really, because he's probably the only one that I'm scared of really is Art to a certain degree. I wasn't that bothered about Pennywise or these ones.
I don't mind clown movies. Clowns don't scare me or anything, but I think that the It films are great. I love Pennywise. I think it's great, but I'm not a huge fan of Terrifier. But I think that's more because it's like the whole what's it called, like torture porn genre, that whole
it has that. Yeah, the first one definitely. I mean, I know there's earlier ones where he's popped up, but like the two proper ones, I think there is elements where it is really quite grisly, and it agonizes over the pain and the peeling of skin and the torture, and like all whilst having that horrible fixed expression on his face. So yeah, it's different to this. You don't have that with this. I don't mind Terrifier 2. I don't mind either of them really, which is strange because you'd think I wouldn't like it. It'd be maybe a bit too much for me. I don't mind either of them. Terrifier 2 I think is more like Freddy and that kind of, it's neon and very 80s feel, whereas the first one's more grimy, kind of Saw feel to it.
Yeah, I've seen the first one, I've not seen the second one, but yeah, films like that, like Hostel, Human Centipede, a Serbian film, the really gross kind of film, I'm not a massive fan of those, although to be fair, I do like the Saws. I like the Saws, especially 1, 2 and 3.
I think Saw aren't necessarily, they're more like a mystery film with some horrible set pieces in it. I don't think they go alongside Hostel and ones that I would describe as torture porn. I know there is like some agonizingly horrible bits in the Saw films. But I've just rewatched some of them recently, and I actually think they come more under like a sort of horror mystery.
Yeah,
like, I think that James Wan's films are have a little bit more of almost like a Hitchcock influence to them. They maybe just get lumped in with some of the other more grisly ones because of some of the horrible traps and things that are in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like things, certain ones. I have an issue with films like, say, if you can watch it and there's artistic value to it, and the story there's a really good story and there's some sort of creativity but I think with a film like, say, Serbian film, for example, from what I know exactly what it's about and what's in it and all that kind of thing, and I just worry sometimes that people are into it just to say that they are like almost like edgelords, like, man, I'm so hardcore, I can watch this film, or it doesn't bother me, or I love this film because it's kind of almost countercultural, or just kind of to say how hardcore you are, rather than is there any value to the film. I was speaking to somebody about this recently. I was like, is there any artistic value to the film? And they said to me there was. They're like, there is a story there that is kind of well written and da 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 da. But to be honest, I'm not interested. This might maybe sound like a complete hypocrite, but I'm just not interested in watching it.
I'm the same. I've not seen that one, but yeah, all I needed to hear a few things about it, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm not down for that one. No thanks.
Yeah, I'm the same. And if that makes me like not hardcore, then that's fine.
Well, I keep seeing these headlines everywhere on Facebook and stuff where it's like, oh, the most shocking film on Netflix, or the most shocking, and it's almost like a badge of honor to say, oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, and some of them aren't that shocking either. So it's like a bit like clickbait, isn't it? But then it's all, it depends on the individual how shocking something is. Like, I find sort of animal things really, I'm no interest in watching that. It really upsets me. That's not so much shocking as upsetting. I watched I Spit on Your Grave recently, and I found it really hard to get through the trauma that was happening to the woman in it for half an hour of the film. She really needed to get revenge quite brutally for me to get back on board with the film, and luckily she did. But it's one of those where I'm like, oh, that was really hard to watch. And sometimes I think there is a story there why that is so, why there's so much going on in it, why it is so violent. There's a story around it, the things that people are dealing with, and there's maybe like I don't know whether in that case, I think there's like a feminist kind of telling of that story, and maybe it has something to do with Vietnam and how inhumane people were during Vietnam and kind of lost their humanity. There's loads in that film. I think that is actually quite an artistic film, whereas I'm not so sure about some of the others. I think it's certainly more modern ones, whether they're just shocking for the sake of shocking and there isn't actually any story or message or anything behind it. So something like Killer Clowns from Outer Space is a nice departure from that, isn't it? Because it's just silly, it's fun. Over the top and fun. Yeah, I definitely had fun with it. Yeah. Like, I like the John Vernon character.
That's Mooney, isn't it? The police officer.
Yeah. He like just hates students just for existing. Like, it's just quite funny. He's been in like, he plays like authority figures, usually corrupt authority figures. Like, I think he's in Dirty Harry. He's in Airplane 2 as well. Not as good Airplane, but like he's a good character because he's like the straight man for the other characters to kind of bounce off. Like that lead cop. I only know him from he was in Baywatch for a while. I don't know anybody else. Like, I
think is it Suzanne Snyder? She was in what's that 80s film?
Return of the Living Dead.
No, yeah, but she is in that as well. I was thinking of the other one, The Science.
Weird Science.
Weird Science, that's the one. Yeah, I think she's in that one.
Ah, right. So she's drunk. I knew she was in Return of the Living Dead, which I'm more of a Romero guy than where John Russo took it with his like sort of funnier ones. But Return of the Living Dead is probably the best of those series. With like Linnea Quigley and people like that in it. But yeah, it's not like a household name and cast. But I think John Vernon's character is quite fun. He's a bit like in Police Academy, there's always the pompous guy who they have to kind of skewer. He's a bit like that in this. He just hates them for being young, really, doesn't he? And doesn't believe anything anyone says. And he's like beating people up in the police station and gets really upset if anyone calls him on it.
Yeah. I think
it's got a bit of a a bit of a creep show feel to this as well. I think
I noticed that. There's one bit in particular that I made a note in the plot.
Ah, right, okay, because I thought, like, do you know the one that you really liked and I was like, oh, it was okay when we ranked them from one of the creep shows? Was it the Geordie one?
That's the one, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that reminds me of that. I bet Ben likes that bit.
That was very, very similar.
It's big and bright, I guess, and this one's got, like, in a way, it works like that because it's from set piece to set piece, isn't it? Like with the FX, it's like we go from this bit to this bit to this bit. A lot of driving in between, a lot of driving around, and not a lot happening during the drive.
I think this is another one of those movies that didn't have a great reception when it was in the cinema, but it gains pretty much most of its following after its release on VHS. And that seems to be a thing with like cult classics.
Yes.
I swear we did one not too long ago. Maybe it was The Thing, actually, where it didn't do well on its reception.
He nearly stopped making movies. Like I think his comeback was Christine, like on a much lower budget. So like how people view things now. There's a big disconnect, I think, between how people see things now as a classic and that we think that they were seen that way at the time, and they probably weren't, or they often weren't. And this is another example of that, I think. But it did well, like in terms of the amount that it cost to make and the amount it made.
Yeah. Well, it had a budget of 1.8 and a box office of 43 mil, so it did very good.
Critics liked it, in the sense that they could probably appreciate it.
Yeah. That's quite odd actually, because Rotten Tomatoes has a higher critic rating than the audience rating. So the critics rated it at 77% and audience 60%.
I imagine the critics probably appreciated how hard it is to make all those effects and like looked at the technical side of it and didn't worry too much about the story of it. And then maybe the audience came out a bit like, oh, we were hoping for sort of bigger explosions and more kind of a bigger film, where actually it's just like a little indie film made by really creative special effects artists.
Watching this, the budget 1.8 mil sounds about right, because it's it seems to me that most of that money probably went on the practical effects. I mean, with the Chiodo brothers, I mean, you look at the designs of all the clowns. I mean, there was loads of clowns in this film, and plus all the set designs, it was huge. Yeah.
No wonder that there was a lot of the other things were like in little place, like living rooms and the one little bit for the police station, but a lot of it was in cars and things because they probably just spent all the money on, like you say, on all the all the costumes and creatures and puppets and everything like that.
It's very visually striking. I mean, especially inside the big circus tent.
Oh yeah, definitely.
What else we got? There's a video game coming out of Killer Klowns.
Oh, right.
Yeah. They seem to be making a lot of horror video games. I know they did it for...
Oh, video games, right. Sorry.
Yeah, they did a Friday... they did a Friday the 13th video game, and I think they've recently done a Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, but I've seen the trailer for this Killer Klowns from Outer Space games, and it looks really cool, actually. I'm not much of a gamer, but I really want to play this game.
No, see, I was interested in playing the Friday the 13th one, but I was like... I'd have to buy a console and go into all these things just to play one game. So,
they've been trying to get a sequel for this literally ever since this came out, and
okay.
It seems like every couple of years they make a little bit of progress and then they hit a wall. So I was trying to do a bit of research on it, but
I wonder why they don't just go on Kickstarter, because like there'll be enough people who love the film to kickstart it, I'm sure.
Literally straight after it, they wanted to do The Return of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space, but they've described it as being stuck in development hell. Apparently,
They need to do it on their own.
Yeah, apparently every network was turning it down. Sci-Fi was going to produce it, but they couldn't get the rights as 20th Century Fox had it. And then,
that'll be the problem then. That's why they can't go on Kickstarter. Yeah, they don't own it themselves.
They refused to sell it, and then 20th Century was going to do it themselves, but somehow Disney was involved, and they blocked it, and it's a whole thing, yeah. Bit of a headache. I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath for it.
No, that makes sense then. Yeah, it's a bit like Friday the 13th in the sense of, all the different people making claims to different things and different people holding the rights. It's not as simple as if you can just go and make it yourself. The only thing they could do is make an unofficial one, but I'm sure they probably want to use the name, don't they? They want to use the name.
Yeah.
It's their idea and their characters, so...
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I've got on this. Oh, do you know what the name of having a phobia of clowns is?
No.
A coulrophobia.
Oh, okay. I don't think I have that.
The fear of
like
clowns.
Like I say, I have stood next... I tested my fear of that because I stood next to Art this time last year.
Oh.
I had my picture taken with him, me and my friend. And, he did flip me the middle finger, though, to be fair.
Oh, wow.
Which is a bit mean. But... he was perfectly fine. He didn't murder me, so that's good.
Not yet.
I'm still here to I'm still here to tell a tale.
Cool, right? That's all I've got.
Yeah, I've pretty much covered a lot of the things that I wanted to say. And yeah, let's get into the nitty gritty of this film.
Let's jump into the spoilers.
Mm-hmm.
I need my sound drops. I'm ready.
Spoiler warning.
So, just outside the town of Crescent Cove, Mike Tobacco and his girlfriend Debbie Stone are parked with other couples at the local Lover's Lane, where they spot a strange glowing star falling to Earth. Nearby farmer Gene Green, believing it to be Halley's Comet, ventures into the woods to find the impact site. He stumbles upon a large circus tent, and he and his dog are captured by mysterious clowns with a K. But yeah, that's the guy I was on about, Gene Green. You can't say Geordie. That did not remind you of Geordie Verrill from Creepshow. That is literally him.
Yeah, I thought that too, for sure.
It seems to be a proper, cliche thing for American teen kind of movies, like to hook up on some mountainside overlooking a town.
Yeah, there must be this, tons of these, make-out points.
Is that a real thing?
I don't know. If there is in the UK, then I've never been invited to any of them, so, which is definitely possible. So, yeah, it seems to be almost like a harking back to the 50s. Maybe, you heard about it in things like Happy Days, going over to Inspiration Point and things like that. But I don't know. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
I guess they only had a few channels on the TV, so they had to go somewhere.
I mean, straight out the gate of this film, you kind of know what you're in for, with the theme song that comes on by... it's a punky band called The Dickies.
Oh, yeah.
But that song, I mean, that's quite some song, isn't it? It's a proper circus-themed kind of song, and they sing the title, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Yeah.
I do like bands like that. There's a really good band, the Cramps, who I really like, who are kind of almost like horror-themed to a certain degree. Kind of like surf horror kind of sound to them. I do like that. There's so many different mini genres within that kind of thing that I always get it wrong, and I've literally had people correct me and tell me how wrong I am. But I just kind of like that sort of trashy sound, and certainly when they mix it with horror, I think it's pretty cool. I think horror punk is like a cool sound.
Horror punk, yeah.
It's quite fun.
So Mike and Debbie arrive to investigate for themselves. Entering the structure, they discover a complex interior with bizarre rooms and eventually realise it is the star and a spaceship. They find a gelatinized Gene Green encased in a sticky cocoon and are spotted by a clown who shoots popcorn at them from a bazooka-like weapon and chases them. He is aided by another clown who uses a living balloon dog.
Do you know, I thought about this I just watched recently the second Leprechaun film where he goes, not the second Leprechaun film, but the second Leprechaun film where he's in the, so it's like a 2000s one, like Return to the Hood or something. And actually comparing it to this, which isn't high praise at all, like there's a lot more sort of creativity, because sometimes just running away from something or not being sure about what it is, at least in this, a lot of times people's reaction is, oh, this looks like it might be fun, like popcorn, ha ha ha, and they laugh and they get involved, and then they're like murdered or disfigured or whatever. I think that's exactly how people would react. They're like, oh, a clown, a funny clown, ha ha ha. It starts going south.
Yeah, I really enjoyed all this. I mean, the acting is a little rough, but I think the silliness and everything about it all kind of makes up for it.
Yeah, it's just a silly like B-movie kind of OTT. I think they're trying to do like a bit of a 50s kind of callback as well to the kind of teen movies of the 50s. So there's a bit of overacting as well there, but that's fine.
There's a quote from Debbie that I had to get so I could play here because it is just such a great quote.
Nobody stores cotton candy like this.
She's very clever.
No one stores cotton candy like this. I mean, yeah, I guess.
That's not a thing, but yeah, sure.
We see, 3 or 4 clowns. How do you like the way they look? It's very, because I think they're in, like, rubber suits, aren't they? Like big. I think it's great. They're all so distinct. Like it's not just like 5 or 6 clowns that look exactly the same. That'd be like they're not. They all look so distinct, don't they? Yeah.
Even later on, there's like a big exploding boob clown, like which almost made me put an extra half a mark onto my score. I was like, oh, that's really interesting and creative. Weird boob clown. But I suppose you got 5 key clowns that are very different.
Yeah, I think you got like 5 main ones, but towards the end you've got like an army of clowns. There's loads of them.
Yeah, clown invasion.
Yeah, I think they look pretty cool.
Yeah, me too.
Oh yeah. We mentioned earlier about the budget. That popcorn bazooka gun, that cost $7,000 to make and design that. And it took 6 weeks. It took 6 weeks to make it and cost $7,000. Cool though. I think you can buy them online. There seems to be so much stuff online for this movie, like prop wise, and stuff that you can buy. The guns being the main thing.
I slipped in myself, like a little Christmas ornament of it, just because I thought it looked so cool. I was hoping it had arrived. I could show it you for the when we recorded this, but it's not arrived yet.
So where are we? Narrowly escaping to the local police station, they report the incident to one of the officers and Debbie's ex-boyfriend, Dave Hansen, and his bad-tempered partner, Curtis Mooney. Mike takes Dave to the site of the ship, only to find it's disappeared and left a large crater in its place. They travel to the Lover's Lane, only to find all the cars abandoned and covered in the cocoon's substance.
Dave Hansen, more like. He's the guy that was in Baywatch. I remember him. He played like a cowboy character in Baywatch. I don't even know if he was an actual lifeguard, but I just remember him. I remembered his face, and I was like, oh yeah, he was caught from Baywatch. So that's his acting credentials. But amazing acting that they have to be in Baywatch. So yeah, the more goo.
Yeah.
More. It's a lot of like just not believing the teens, which I think is like a staple from these kind of films.
Yeah.
Like they're just, it's a big joke. They're playing a joke on us. They're making us look stupid. Mooney's my favorite character in the film.
Yeah, I know. He must have got like 20 phone calls. It's just all the phones are just ringing off the hook, and he still just doesn't believe. It was like, oh wow, they're just fooling everyone in this town, aren't they?
Yeah. He just blames everything on young people, students. He just hates you. Anybody over the age of like, I don't know, say, under the age of maybe, I don't know, let's say 40, he hates them.
I don't know. I was trying to find out what that stuff that they used for the cotton candy was, but I couldn't find it. But those cars that were completely covered inside it, apparently all these cars were rental cars, and it ruined the interior of these cars, and they cost about $3,000 to repair all the damage.
You'd think they'd just be better off just getting some old smashed up cars from some junkyard or something and using those. Like, they obviously haven't thought much about the escalating cost of making this film.
Yeah.
Got like Critters money. But just got all the space jizz all over it.
Yeah. I mean, you'd think. I mean, the Chiodo brothers, they're very open about using really basic effects and like the cheapest way around using stuff.
Probably Vaseline or something like that, or like, like some sort of industrial lubricant.
So the clowns begin encasing townspeople in cocoons using toy-like ray guns. Several clowns perform pranks and mock circus acts, which result in the deaths of several onlookers. Yeah, I think by now we're getting quite a lot of deaths when they're going around the town. I don't know. I guess they're kills. They're like just turning them into candy floss, but
it's like there's so many films in the 80s where a seemingly like geeky or strange character comes up across some sort of biker gang. There's always this kind of like big tough bikers, like Pee Wee Herman, like I think it's Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and he like knocks all the bikes over. He makes friends with them all, but then he knocks all their bikes over at the end, and like then shoots off and drives straight into like a hoarding, like an advertising hoarding. But there's loads of ones like that. Even Terminator, like there's like tons of bike. There must have just been a massive explosion of bike gangs in the 80s in America. It probably was, to be honest.
I know, because they're all very kind of like light and easy until you get to that bike again, and there's that little clown, and he's got his little boxing gloves on, and it's quite funny. And then the lead gang member, he's like, "What you gonna do? Knock my block off?" And he does, and he punches, his head just comes clean off. And
I think that's probably the best scene in the whole film.
That is, it's great. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you get in loads in this short segment there. I mean, you get the pizza delivery, one of them pops out the box, and another one that knocks on the door to give them like a box of chocolates. They're just literally going door to door, just killing everyone. But
it's just moving from set piece to set piece. Do you know what? It's so popular. You're right about this. I see it pop up. Things about Killer Clowns pop up. This particular film pop up every single day on my YouTube. Whether that's the algorithm just pointing it at me because I've watched the film, but I see it even before we were talking about watching the film. It's just I see it. It is everywhere. It's so popular, isn't it?
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if this is our most listened to episode just because the title of it is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I see it as well. I mean, especially in GIFs. People sending GIFs. I think I sent you one earlier, didn't I? The waving clown.
You're the guy doing it across the whole internet.
So Mike and Dave witness a clown using shadow puppets to shrink a crowd of people and then dump them into a bag full of popcorn, which are revealed to be clowns in larval form. Mike meets with his friends, Rich and Paul Terenzi, and using the loudspeaker on their ice cream truck, they drive around town attempting to warn people of the clowns. Back at the police station, another clown arrives and Mooney arrests him, believing him to be a teenage prankster.
Gross.
Dave returns to the station to find the place ransacked and the clown using a deceased Mooney as a ventriloquist dummy.
Aww.
Dave shoots it in the nose, which causes it to spin wildly and explode.
You can kill them. We've learnt so much about them that there's like a larva creating more of them. Like they're almost like gremlins to a certain degree. And like the ice cream truck thing, which they was just levered in earlier on in the film for no reason, where he was just shouting just to show that it had a microphone on it.
Yeah,
like where he's like saying, "Hey, stop making out and come and buy ice cream."
Yeah,
like why is he doing that? Even the other guy's like, "Why did you do that?" He should have just said, "So that I established that there's a microphone for later on in the film."
So yeah, I mean. So we learnt that you kill them by shooting them in the nose. But yeah, you're right. It is a bit like Gremlins. I mean, there's certain rules.
There are certain rules.
So Gremlins is good. No, that's mean. This isn't a bad film. It's not a bad film. But like, I just don't want to compare it to Gremlins because I love Gremlins so much.
Yeah, Gremlins good. That scene with the human ventriloquist dummy, that was pretty fucked up. Especially when he makes him talk and he says in his own voice, he goes, "Don't worry, Dave. We just want to kill you." But, you know, Mooney's an arsehole, so I don't really care about that character. He can die.
Yeah, it's like I wanted him to stick around just because he was amusing me. Like his stupidity and his kind of grumpiness was amusing me. And plus, I think he's the only proper actor in the film. Although maybe that's a bit mean to Susan Snyder. Like she was all right.
Another scene. I forgot to say. I don't know if it's happened yet. Yeah, it must have done. But one that really shocked me was when there was a clown looking through a window trying to lure that little girl outside, and he's holding that huge hammer behind his back.
Oh yeah.
That was creepy.
That's so cartoonish, isn't it? The big hammer thing. It's like you know, in like Tom and Jerry or something. Like,
a massive, oversized hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was something about that scene that really, because he's like he's doing the come here thing with his finger, and yeah.
It's because children are so vulnerable to it, isn't it? Because they're so vulnerable because they love clowns, and that's what clowns are for, children. So it makes it even more horrible that he's doing that, I guess. Like they're gonna go, "Oh, a clown." Well, it's like weird, isn't it? It wasn't like one of the biggest serial killers of all time. He was a clown, wasn't he? It's John Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy, yeah.
So there is a sort of real life weird thing about.
Yeah, what was his?
That's where it started off.
Well, he had a name for his clown, didn't he?
Yeah, was he like Mr. something?
Oh,
it wasn't Yucko. No, it wasn't Yucko. I don't know. But
It'll come to me later.
Suitably creepy, and he looked suitably creepy as well. And I wonder if that's where the creepy clown thing really took off. You know,
maybe
because of him. Pogo the clown.
Pogo the clown. That's it.
Yeah. Lord. Take that off my screen. Don't have nightmares, kids. For saying I wasn't afraid of.
Yeah, you can be afraid of that one.
Yeah, yes, fair enough.
Yeah. Anyway,
moving on.
Moving on. So, at Debbie's house, the popcorn from earlier The encounter with the clowns evolves into juvenile clowns and attacks her. As she attempts to escape, she is intercepted by 5 clowns who trap her in a giant balloon. Mike, Dave, and the Terenzis witness Debbie's capture and follow the clowns to a local amusement park where they have relocated their ship. Yeah, I'm not sure why they decided to trap and take Debbie in a balloon. Like, everyone else was just getting zapped, but then I guess, you know, this film don't really go by logic.
No, they're going to need the biggest actor who they're paying the most amount of money to be on screen as much as possible. So they've not got anything for it. Because I suppose the thing is, if you had big stars in this, you'd have to put them on screen more.
That's true.
But they don't want to do that. They want to put the clowns on screen more because they're the cool things, the parts that they want everyone to see.
Well, I mean, thank God she didn't turn into a cotton candy.
Nobody stores cotton candy like this.
I did.
Somebody wrote that down. Somebody wrote that on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
Someone had that idea. Yeah, that works for me. What a great line.
I did, however, I really enjoyed the little baby popcorns that were crawling across the floor. Then the next time you see them, they're like in the laundry basket as baby clowns. There is no.
I've got so much popcorn. Sorry, I've just got so much popcorn in my kitchen at the moment. And now you've said that, I'm worrying.
Oh, you should have had some whilst you were watching it. There is no shortage of creativity in this film. They're just doing everything they can. They're like, oh, what can we do? Oh, there's some popcorn there. Oh, let's make the popcorn come alive and turn into clowns. And
it is very creative.
It is cool. So, journeying through a funhouse, the Terenzi brothers become separated. After Dave and Mike witness a clown using a drinking straw to drink one of the gelatinized townspeople's blood, they rescue Debbie and flee into a maze full of traps, being chased and eventually surrounded by a legion of clowns. But the Terenzis arrive in their ice cream truck and use the PA to distract them. That's the bit I made a note of as well. I really like when the Terenzis get lost and fall into that ball pit, and then there's those 2 female clowns and their boobs are just inflating. And they're just like so aroused by it. But the next time you see them, they're just all covered in lipstick kisses and their clothes are all torn up.
Yeah, and like, to be fair, the fact that those guys found those clowns attractive says a lot more about them than it does about anybody else. Like, they're not attractive, they just have boobs, that's it.
Yeah.
That's enough for those guys. They're like, hoo.
Okay, right, we're getting towards the end now. So, a giant clown puppet, Jojo the Clownzilla, appears and destroys the ice cream truck, seemingly killing the Terenzis. Dave creates a distraction, and Mike and Debbie escape before the ship begins to take off. Dave uses his badge to pierce Jojo's nose, causing him to explode and destroy the ship. A clown car drops out of the sky, and Dave emerges along with the Terenzi brothers, who miraculously survived by hiding in the ice cream truck's freezer moments before it was destroyed. As the group watch the fireworks created by the ship's destruction, pies fall from the sky and land on their faces.
I was just thinking that it only just came to me now, but hiding in a freezer, what a ridiculous thing to do. And then I was like, oh yeah, Indiana Jones, wasn't he, like in the Crystal Skull, doesn't he do exactly the same thing, like inside a fridge to escape nuclear fallout or something?
Oh dear.
So like, they were watching this and going, yeah, well, if it was good enough for Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it's good enough for Indy.
Oh wow, what a movie. Okay, should we rate this thing?
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm gonna rate this from 1 to 10 cotton candy cocoons.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a difficult one because it's not really a serious movie. It's it's low budget, silly but fun, very creative. You can sit back with a couple of beers or maybe some popcorn if you got some popcorn. Just enjoy yourself.
With some pot, then.
Well, you know,
you could do that too. Yeah. Any substances you want to take while you watch this film.
Whatever gets you through it. I had a lot of fun with it. You know, I wasn't looking too deeply into it. If you take it for what it is, then it's a good watch. It's a nice change of vibe when you compare it to most horrors that feature a clown as the main antagonist. The set designs and the clown characters are vibrant and visually, you know, striking. They look awesome, along with the amusing music and sound effects placed through it. I honestly struggle trying to rate this, because I don't know. So I think I'm going to give it a 7.5 cotton candy cocoons. What about you?
Okay, so can I just check, did you see this as a kid as well? Like, was this a film that you saw when you were younger and you thought it was awesome then, or was there any nostalgia towards it?
No, I can't remember.
So I just wondered if that had an impact on people loving it so much, you know, like a bit of nostalgia, because I don't have any, because obviously it's the first time I watched it.
No, this one slipped past me for a very long time. I would imagine within the last 5 years I probably watched this for the first time.
Oh, right, okay, right. So we're both in a similar place with it then, I think. I was hoping... I liked all the practical stuff, and I think you're right. It's a nice change of pace, like to have funny clowns. I think there needs to be... Some of the art stuff's quite funny, I guess, but like it's offset by some real ultra violence. But yeah, so I was going to give it a 6, and then I thought for all the creativity, I'm giving it a 6.5. And I found it in places, the bits in between each set piece, like really boring, and then the set pieces were really fun and exciting and like really well made. And it possibly deserves me to watch it again, I think, just to kind of really focus in a bit more on some of the creative side of it. It's not as fun or as clever as Terrorvision, which I compared it to instantly for some reason. I feel that doesn't let up on the pace, whereas I think this is a bit all over the place. It's like really funny, then boring, then really funny, boring, really creative, then boring. Like it's up and down all the way through for quite I'm not sure how long it is as a film, but like it felt quite long. Now, the end set piece for me, it was like that was the biggest letdown, I think. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that 6.5. Cotton candy cocoons. But I can see why people will love it if they watched it as a kid or had it. You feel a little woozy if you were watching this film and I'm feeling woozy, yeah. And you loved it, and then you heard me saying, "Oh, it's okay." But I like to see more films like this. I love like practical effects, so I think the more of those, the better. It'd be nice to have some modern ones that do that as well. I think we are seeing that a little bit again. So I'd love to see the sequel, see what they do if that ever gets made, and I might watch it again, maybe one more time, and see if I end up loving it. But yeah, that's where I am. 6.5, my friend.
Awesome, nice. Okay, right. Let's jump into our trivia section.
Trivia. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm keeping that. Originally, Clownzilla was supposed to be made with stop-motion animation, but due to production costs and limited time to shoot, they made a suit instead. And also, Clownzilla was played by Charles Chiodo.
It sounds like they did loads of things to keep the cost down, but then the costs were still high.
Yeah.
It's like, the costs were high, but also they were low. It's like, oh, okay, thank you.
This one's interesting. Mooney's fate is foreshadowed earlier in the film when he says, "Nobody's going to make a dummy out of me." Then a clown winds up making him a human ventriloquist dummy.
Oh, very clever. Cleverer than I thought. Make it a 7 instead of a 6.5.
Yeah, see that good writing's coming back now, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm wrong. Once again. Just like in the quiz every week, I'm totally wrong.
And last one. John Mazzari's music for the entrance of Clownzilla was originally composed a year earlier for the Friday the 13th Part 6 movie trailer. Mazzari's music for that trailer was rejected in favour of a more cliché musical approach.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. So,
fair enough.
Yeah, there we go. All right, yeah, that's all I got for trivia. There wasn't really an awful lot I could find about this movie. I thought there was going to be loads, considering it was cult classic, but no.
Yeah, I said mine earlier on about the guy being the sort of cowboy guy in Baywatch, but that's like just from being a kid and like you remember Saturday afternoons, just you get back from the football or whatever, and Baywatch was on, and I just remembered his face.
Okay, alright, that's it for trivia, so let's go into this week's game.
I want to play a game.
What is it they call the little guy from there? Is it Billy? The fans call him Billy.
Billy, yeah, I think it is Billy, yeah.
And the fans call him Billy, and then the people who made the film started calling him Billy as well, which is really strange.
Billy. Okay, so this game is called Clowning Around. So I've made a clown horror quiz. A bunch of questions specific to certain movies featuring a clown. First one is this film, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. How many clowns are featured in this movie?
Are we counting every single one, like when they all spawn and stuff?
Yeah, so all the clowns. I don't have an exact number, so if you're close to it, I'll give it to you. Close to the approximate number.
Okay, so I'm going to try and watch the film really quickly and scan through it and count them all. So just give me a moment. Let's say that they reused shots a lot, so maybe 37.
Ooh, yeah, I'll give you that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's from what I found, it's approximately 40 clowns.
I was going to say 40.
Hey.
I was going to say 40, but I went 37.
All right, cool. So this one is for It from 1990. What is the town in which it takes place?
In which it takes place? Derry, Maine.
Yay! Yeah. And now this one is for It in 2017.
Oh,
How many?
Derry, Maine.
Yeah. How many members are in the Losers Club, and can you name them?
I can't name them all. I can't. I'll get mixed up with like the Goonies and Stand By Me and get all my and Stranger Things.
Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo.
All right. How many members are there?
Five.
5 members.
Yeah.
There are 7 members in the Losers Club. You got Bill, Eddie, Ben, Richie, Stan, Beverly, and Mike.
I remember Beverly. I remember Bill. I got confused because in the modern one as well, it's the kid from Stranger Things is in it, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Next one, Terrifier. How many kills are in Terrifier, the first one?
Oh, in the first one? Not that many. Not that many. So... Oh, there's some at the end, though. Let's say 5, but I think it might be lower.
No, it's more than that.
Oh, is it?
I've got down 10.
10? I guess there's like things like paramedics and doctors and friends coming to help and family members and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's not a lot. That's not a lot, though, compared to the second one.
I think that's 10... including him, because don't he shoot himself?
Yeah, but
then
he's
obviously
not
he
dead,
don't die.
is he? So.
No, he don't die. So I don't know. Yeah,
we get all spooky and supernatural in the second one as well.
9.5.
Yeah.
Next one. Next one is House of a Thousand Corpses. Who is the guy dressed as a clown?
Oh, the actor or the character? I know the character.
The character.
Oh, God. Is it Captain Spaulding?
Yeah, Captain Spaulding. Tutti fucking fruity. Yeah. Okay, last one is Poltergeist. What does Robbie's clown doll do to him before dragging him under the bed?
I can't remember. I've not seen this for 20, 30 years. Winks at him, smiles at him, speaks to him.
No, he so the clown sat on the chair, he goes to sleep, he looks back and the clown's gone, and then all of a sudden he jumps up behind him and he wraps his extended arm round his neck and chokes him, and then it drags him under the bed.
Well, you're going to say he raps like he's
raps.
I'm here to say.
I've got a thing about that as well. I see that scene actually nearly killed him because that was an animatronic arm, and there was a problem with it, and it constricted too tightly around his neck.
That film is cursed.
Yeah, and the actor actually started, protesting, saying he couldn't breathe, but Spielberg just thought he was improv acting.
Oh wow. That's
yeah, I know they had a lot of.
It doesn't surprise me, to be honest.
They had a lot of stuff in those movies. Yeah,
messed up, wasn't it?
Cursed film. But yeah, I mean, that's that for that game. So yeah, just to wrap up. Oh god, very gassy.
It's that Monster Energy drink.
I know. It's empty now. I've drunk it all. Next week is one of your favourites. We're doing Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that.
I'll probably watch that twice, I think.
I've not seen it. I've been putting it off.
I might watch it for the podcast to make notes and then watch it again because I always watch it on Halloween.
Oh, okay.
And if I watch it on Halloween, it will be too late to watch it for the podcast. Because I think the last 5 or 6 years I've watched it every time on Halloween.
Yeah, that'll be our most explored franchise so far. We've done a lot of sequels, but this one will be our third one.
Oh, yeah, and it's got nothing to
Halloween franchise. Yeah,
it's completely different.
Yeah, I'm looking
that'll be interesting. I hope you like it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I've always put it off because I knew Michael weren't in it, but it seems within the last 10 years or so, everyone's been bigging it up. So
yeah, it's cool.
Yeah,
he's in it. Well, he is in it.
Huh?
Ooh, he is in it.
Who?
Michael.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh. He's not.
Let's see if you can spot him. It's like Where's Wally?
Oh, is he like an Easter egg?
Yeah, like our American listeners, Where's Waldo?
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. All right. That's going to be something that you know that I'm going to have to look out for. It's normally me spotting stuff that you don't know.
The first time that, yeah. I probably missed it. I probably missed it the first 20 times. I've watched that film maybe upwards of 10 times.
Wow.
I love it.
Cool. All right. Yeah, well, that's that, unless you got anything you want to add
on. No.
Nope.
I'm happy. I think I can't wait for you to watch Halloween 3.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch it Friday the Sunday the 29th, and then I'm going to watch it on Tuesday the 31st as well.
Yeah. The day that we'll be recording it.
Yeah. So can't wait.
Cool. Awesome. All right. And that is the end.
Nobody stores cotton candy like this.
If you've liked today's episode, be sure to go and like us on Facebook. That's where we announce our next episodes, as well as each month doing a themed poll pick where you get to choose what you want us to watch. We like to hear from you, so please feel free to leave us a comment or send us a message, or you can even email us at allthingshorror666@gmail.com. That's all for today. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next one.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick!